talking about the potential for some severe weather heading into tomorrow morning. We've been talking all evening how this setup is very unusual, how we haven't really seen a morning thunderstorm yet, how we haven't seen the severity of what it's going to be like yet. But this time of year, we can get those thunderstorms to pop up in the morning hours. So we're going to go all over that here in just a minute. We're going to go ahead and send out our mobile alert real quick. So just bear with me for a quick second. All right, and then we'll go ahead and pull up our live stream. So if you have any questions heading into tomorrow morning, we'll try to get to a few of those. All right, so like we mentioned real quick, again, this setup is very unusual. Usually we're talking about, evening storms where we're building temperatures all day long, and then a cold front comes through, and the mix between that cold air and that warm air, that's when we start to get those thunderstorms. This setup is completely different, and actually it's very unique to the south. We have a dry line coming in for tomorrow morning, and we're no longer talking about the cold air versus the warm air. We're actually just talking about the difference in moisture. We're going to have a lot of dry, hot air combining with a lot of warm, moist air coming up from the Gulf heading into tomorrow. Let's start off with today. Why didn't we see those temperatures like they were supposed to be in the 70s? We had talked about temperatures topping out into the low to mid 70s today. Well, we were depending on our winds coming up from the south for almost all day long today, and we had a period of time where that wind really only came from the east, and we didn't see those temperatures warm up to their potential today. Also, we got a lot of cloud coverage today. This morning into the afternoon, we had a few breaks in the clouds where we saw some sunshine, but for the most part, temperatures really only topped out into the low to mid 60s today across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But here's the thing. Heading into the overnight hours from right now until we get to tomorrow morning, temperatures are actually going to be warming up. So taking a quick look at those current temperatures right now across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Let's get a zoom in on those temperatures. 60 degrees in Gravette, 63 in Springdale, 64 in Fayetteville, 62 in Bentonville, 61 in Rogers. Again, temperatures were supposed to be a little bit warmer today. We were talking about how maybe we were creeping up into the 70s. Across the River Valley, temperatures already falling into the 60s. Waldron and Poteau have been our interesting spots today where they didn't see a whole lot of cloud coverage, and they actually reached up into the mid to low 70s where we're supposed to reach up towards today. But all this wind is still coming up from the south, fueling those storms heading into early tomorrow morning. Let's go ahead and take a look at the overnight hours. Again, we're actually going to get warmer as we head into the overnight hours tonight. We have a thick layer of cloud coverage remaining until those storms arrive heading into tomorrow morning. It's almost going to serve as a blanket for us where we're going to see temperatures warm up. Plus, with those wind gusts coming up from the south around 25 to 30 miles per hour heading into tonight, that's what's going to help warm up those temperatures. Now, starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley and eastern Oklahoma, we're seeing a wind advisory. That's going to be because of the 45 mile an hour plus wind gusts we could see. Now, as those thunderstorms continue to develop, we will see those wind gusts start to pick up just a bit. Let's take a look across the River Valley overnight tonight. Temperatures, even at 1 a.m., going to be close to 70 degrees. Again, temperatures warming up as we get into the overnight hours because of the mixture of that cloud coverage and all that wind coming up from the south. Around the early morning hours tomorrow morning is when you'll first start to see maybe those scattered showers and then eventually turning into those thunderstorms. We're going to go ahead and kind of break down what a dry line is. Why this is different from our normal setup from a cold front to the warm air mixture. This is completely unique to the south. Places like Texas, Oklahoma, into Nebraska, Arkansas, we all see these type of setups every once in a while, and it's this yellow dry line that we have here. So these two mixtures that we're getting is a lot of warm, moist air coming up from the south. That's why temperatures were in the 60s today, trying to reach up into the 70s across some places across the river valley. And heading into tomorrow, we're going to see that dry line push through, bringing that dry, hot air. And just on the outside of that dry line boundary is when we're going to see those thunderstorms really start to develop. Now, that cold air behind the dry line doesn't move in until we get to Thursday and Friday. That's when temperatures drop down for daytime highs only in the 50s. We'll start to warm up as we get into the weekend. So let's break down the severity levels for heading into tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, we originally were expecting to see just those storms across the southern portion of the river valley. From last night, we had a level 1 out of 5 risk. Into today, we saw Storm Prediction Center updating that and releasing the level 2 out of 5 slight risk across northwest Arkansas. So not only did they increase the potential for severe weather heading into tomorrow, but we also changed the location a whole lot. Last night, we only had that level 1 risk across southern LaFleur and Scott counties. Today, all of northwest Arkansas and parts of eastern Oklahoma are included in that slight level 2 risk. What does this mean? Well, now we have those damaging winds are going to be our main factor heading into tomorrow morning. We will have a hail potential and isolated tornado potential heading into tomorrow. So we went from 0 to a level 2 all the way just in a span of 24 hours. Breaking down the timing of this, well, our main threats tomorrow are going to be those damaging winds. Another threat of this entire system is going to be the fact that the timing on this is going to be anywhere from 7 to 8 a.m. arriving into eastern Oklahoma, and then northwest Arkansas is going to see it anywhere from 8 a.m.-ish, and then because this line is angled, the river valley around 9 a.m., you're going to start to see those thunderstorms really start to develop. So this is overnight tonight. You see across Oklahoma City, they're going to start to get just that rainfall. It's starting to develop. That dry line's coming together. And as we cross over into eastern Oklahoma, around 6 a.m. heading into Wednesday morning, that's when we'll first start to see that line of thunderstorms really start to develop. And this is the spot where we could see some of that rotation across the front line of this thunderstorm. Moving from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m., that's when these thunderstorms really start to become active across northwest Arkansas and then eventually into the river valley. So here's a look at 7 a.m. Now we're talking about places like Benton County, Washington County, Adair County, Sequoia, outside of LaFleur County, really starting to see those thunderstorms really starting to pick up, starting to gain some of that energy, some of that power heading into tomorrow morning. And then 8 a.m. is probably when we're going to see the greatest potential for some severe weather. Again, damaging winds is going to be our main threat here, where we're going to see straight line winds from anywhere from 60 plus miles per hour. And you take a look at 8 a.m. right here, almost all of 49 leading from northwest Arkansas into Fort Smith is almost covered by that leading edge of that line. So the commute tomorrow, if you're planning on going to work, northwest Arkansas or the River Valley, wherever you're headed tomorrow, be prepared for those thunderstorms to be coming active really right as you're heading out the door, depending on what time you head into work or what time the kids get dropped off for school, what time they get picked up for the bus. That's when we're going to see the morning commute be the most active heading into tomorrow. We're going to check on some of these comments. A lot of people just asking where their location, where it's going to get hit the hardest. Again, this is, for our 7-day forecast, we'll show here in a minute, we had both northwest Arkansas and the River Valley at 100% for tomorrow. We're going to see some type of thunderstorms. It just depends on which areas are going to see the most active spots. And since we were warm today and that dry line's coming in for tomorrow morning, we're most likely going to see some damaging winds at the least heading into tomorrow. Let's take a look at those storm threats real quick. So again, the timing from this from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. is when the severity is going to be the greatest at. Maybe we'll start seeing that rainfall moving further out towards the east once we get closer to midday tomorrow. But here's our storm threats heading into tomorrow. We can't rule out the fact that we could see a brief spin up heading into early tomorrow morning. Hail is going to be our next threat. We could see some small pockets of some hail heading into tomorrow morning. And then again, damaging winds is going to be our greatest threat. Really, flash flooding is not a concern heading into tomorrow. We are going to see that rain is going to come down at a fast rate. But when it's all said and done and those totals are done, we're really only going to see maybe an inch to an inch and a half at the max. Most places are going to stay under an inch of rainfall heading into tomorrow. So, and then lightning is going to be another low factor. Really, we're just trying to point out the fact that tomorrow morning, those wind gusts, those straight line winds coming from the front line of this system are going to be moving so fast. That's when those damaging winds really start to pick up for tomorrow. Real quick, we'll show you those rain totals of what we're expecting. They're not great for tomorrow. Again, most of the river valley only going to see maybe a ½ inch of rain. Northwest Arkansas, you have the better chance because you're going to see those storms first to see maybe up to an inch, maybe some isolated spots seeing up to an inch and a half of rainfall heading into tomorrow. Daytime highs for tomorrow. This is not telling the full story because, again, while we're going to be warm tomorrow again, it's only going to be in the morning hours. Once that system moves in, it's going to use all that energy and take away and decrease those temperatures as we go on throughout the rest of the day tomorrow. That cold front, though, doesn't arrive until we get into Thursday, and then that's going to really cool off temperatures. Daytime highs only expected to be in the mid-50s. We're just checking chat real quick to make sure anybody has any questions heading into tomorrow. A lot of questions about going into work, going to school tomorrow. I know it's a very unusual time heading into tomorrow. Again, we talked about how usually we're talking about these evening storms developing all day long, moving into Northwest Arkansas, maybe right when it's getting dark. But for tomorrow, this is going to be coming from dark into sunrise, almost heading into tomorrow is when those storms are going to arrive. So those schools are going to make their own decisions. Work, obviously, you have to make your own decisions. Again, 8 a.m. tomorrow is going to be the greatest potential. Let's go ahead and run that futurecast look past 8 a.m. to show you the greatest risk. So here's 8 a.m. when it's going to be the worst. You see all 49s covered by probably the heaviest portion of where that line is going to be moving through. As we head into 9 a.m., we're still going to see those embedded thunderstorms moving further into the eastern side of our viewing area. And then finally, as we get into midday, really, we're just going to see some heavy rainfall. And then finally, once we get to lunchtime, all of this is over. This is going to be a very quick moving system where it's only going to last for the morning hours. And then once we get to lunchtime into the afternoon, we're actually going to see things really start to clear up. This is moving so fast that all that cloud coverage, everything is going to clear up by the afternoon. We're going to see some sunshine by then. Temperatures just might not feel the same as they have been the past couple of days, even though it's not a cold front, it's a dry line. It's not really going to cool off temperatures. That cold front is falling right behind that dry line, and that's going to cool off temperatures heading into Thursday. We'll show you one more time the updated Storm Prediction Center Day 2. Again, tomorrow, early tomorrow morning, we'll have an update on what the final Day 1 image is going to look like. But for right now, it's a level 2 out of 5 risk. That slight risk across northwest Arkansas and eastern Oklahoma. Parts of the river valley are just included in that level 1 out of 5 risk for tomorrow. Wind gusts overnight tonight are going to be pretty strong, but again, that wind advisory doesn't start until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, going all the way until 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Wind gusts tonight going to see anywhere from 25 to 35 miles per hour. You see once we get towards 6, 7, and 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, that's when we start to see those wind gusts peaking up near 45 miles an hour. And if those storms become really active, we could see the wind gusts starting to pick up towards 60 miles an hour. That's the threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. Once we see those wind gusts over 60 miles per hour, 58 miles per hour, is when we're going to start to see those severe thunderstorm warnings become issued. A lot of people asking about, let's break down Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Again, with the system coming in at an angle, timing is going to be very different. Obviously, Northwest Arkansas is going to see those thunderstorms first, just the way that this line is coming in. So Northwest Arkansas, you could expect to see the first showers and the first thunderstorms moving in anywhere between 6 a.m., probably closer to 7 a.m. Fort Smith, you're not seeing that line of thunderstorms until closer to 8 a.m. So you'll see Northwest Arkansas getting that line first, and then the River Valley is going to see those thunderstorms moving in just a little bit later. But the issue is, since this is in such a prime time hour, that morning rush hour around 8 a.m. for 49, taking a look at 8 a.m. right there, all that red and orange and yellow, the heaviest portion of that rainfall and the heaviest portion of those thunderstorms is going to be right over 49 heading into 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Once we get past the morning hours into closer 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., that's when the line of thunderstorms is moving further towards our eastern side of our viewing area. So Clarksville, Paris, parts of Carroll County, Madison County, you're up next closer to 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. And then once we get past 10 a.m., closer to 11, that's when those thunderstorms really start to fall apart, and they're just moving over closer towards central Missouri and northern Arkansas. Eastern Oklahoma, the timing for you guys, 6 a.m. is when you're going to really start to see across Delaware and Adair counties, Sequoia, LaFleur County, anywhere between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. So depending on what your morning schedule looks like, this is how you have to plan your day out tomorrow, because your normal day leaving out the door usually does not involve lines of thunderstorms that are capable of producing isolated tornado, straight line winds that could go up to 60 miles an hour. So you have to kind of adjust your day heading into tomorrow, and just know that waking up tomorrow, you have to be a little weather aware and understand where maybe those thunderstorms are. And we'll have meteorologist Zach Scott here in the morning, and meteorologist Stephen Abshire will be doing team coverage throughout our morning shows, and then we'll be on our live stream between the end of our morning show and our noon show before we go back on air. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up here pretty soon. Let's take one last look at overall our storm threats and when our line is going to be coming through. Again, around 6 a.m. for eastern Oklahoma, moving into northwest Arkansas around 7 a.m. River Valley, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. That's when the strongest portion of this line of thunderstorms is going to be moving in. As we get closer to 9 a.m., that's when parts of Carroll, Madison County are going to see those thunderstorms, and then Clarksville, Paris, Waldron, portions of the River Valley are going to get their turn to have some of that severe weather potential as well. Again, straight line winds is going to be our main concern heading into tomorrow. After 9 a.m., heading into 10 a.m., that's when it's leaving our viewing area and moving further up north into central Missouri and northern portions of Arkansas. For our storm threats tomorrow, the main threat is going to be those wind gusts. Again, wind gusts are with these straight line winds. We could see some shingle damage. We could see, again, Erica mentioned earlier tonight, those trash cans are going to have one heck of a day heading into tomorrow. Could see some small pockets of some hail, and we can't rule out the brief possibility of some spin-ups across the front line of that edge. So closer towards the early morning hours is when we could start seeing those spin-ups, and lightning, of course, tomorrow. Don't have to worry a whole bunch about flash flooding, because we're only really going to see an inch of rainfall. Warming up overnight tonight ahead of these storms heading into tomorrow. Be weather aware, and we'll be able to keep you updated throughout the morning hours tomorrow morning. As soon as those storms start to fire up, meteorologist Zach Scott and meteorologist Stephen Abshire get you going in the morning hours with our morning show, and then we'll be on our live stream throughout the rest of the morning, leading all the way up to our noon show, when hopefully all this has already moved further out towards the east and up across central Missouri. Stay safe tomorrow morning. Be sure, before you go to bed tonight, be aware of what your morning is going to look like tomorrow morning with the storm threats going to be across northwest Arkansas, the River Valley. Plan accordingly heading into tomorrow and stay safe out there. We'll continue to update you throughout the rest of the night.